Hello, Ron here from L.T.L Tutoring Central in beautiful Guelph, Ontario, Canada. And I'm making this little video about goal setting. And a lot of people, they know about goal setting, but they don't exactly know how to go about it. So I'm just going to touch on a few tips that will help you to set reasonable goals. And that's the key, because a lot of people think that a goal has to be something really big, really large. Well, that could be a long-term goal, but sometimes our long-term goals tend to be more like wishes or dreams. For example, if I won the lottery, I would buy a mansion and a yacht and take my parents around the world and all of these wonderful things. These are more dreams or wishes than actual goals. Now, a long-term goal might be something like, I want to save up and buy a house. Well, that is a long-term goal because usually houses are rather expensive. And then you start making smaller goals or achievable goals so that you can attain that long-term goal. And that's more what we're talking about in this video are the smaller achievable goals, the types of goals that you should be setting all the time, particularly if you're in school, but this kind of goal setting can work in your life as well. I'm going to be talking more about how to do it for academics or for school. So, for example, if last term, last year, last semester, depending on what system you're in, you took a math class and you ended the class with a 77%. Okay, that's a B plus, again, a 3 plus, depending on what system you're in, and that's a reasonably good score. That's a reasonably good grade. But this year, this term, you can set your goal a little higher. Maybe you can get an A minus, set your goal for the low 80s, or maybe even an 85, sort of work your way up into the A's. That is a reasonable goal and an achievable goal because you had 77, you're not that far off that A grade. And if you buckle down and stick to your study sessions, do your practice questions, etc., that goal is very achievable. But if you had a 52 in math last year, and this could be any course, I'm just picking math as an example. If you had a 52%, or if you had a 45% and you failed the course basically, then an 80% for this term or this year is not a good goal. It's not a reasonable goal. And you say, Ron, why not? Doesn't everyone want an A? Well, yes, we all want to have A's if we can. We want to get as close to 100% as we can. But it's not always a reasonable goal for us at that time. So you need to look at where you are now and what you're able to do to reach that goal. Setting unreasonable goals. So again, with our example of someone in the 50% range trying to get to the 80s this term, that is probably much too large of a goal right away. Set a goal, maybe I can get into the C's this semester or this year. And then the next year, you can move up to the B's. And of course, if all of a sudden your grades on quizzes, your scores on tests starts to move up much more quickly because you're really dedicating yourself to your studies and you're seeking the help you need from the teacher and maybe from other students, of course, use all the study skills. I've made some videos already, and I'll be making more videos about how to use study strategies and skills to help yourself. So if you are applying these all the time, suddenly your scores may actually start rising even quicker than you thought. In that case, you can adjust your goal even within the term or within the semester. If suddenly everything seems to be going along very, very well, you can raise your goal a little higher and raise a little higher as you move through. If not, you want to congratulate yourself if you reach that C grade this year or C plus grade, and then next year you can maybe set your goal to get a B minus or something like that. So you want always to set achievable goals so that you can reach them, so that you can get that feeling of accomplishment and you know that you can continue to move forward. If you set a goal that is a bit ridiculous, a bit unachievable at this moment, you will feel defeated every single time you get a test back, you get a quiz back, you didn't do very well, and okay, studying doesn't work for me. I can't do this. I'm not an academic. I'm not able to. I hear this all the time. In 20 years of tutoring, I hear this so often. And just as often, I see students who, and sometimes it takes a while, but suddenly they start doing better and better and better, and they realize studying works for me. If I actually follow all of these tips and I actually do these skills, it does work, but it doesn't work immediately. It takes some time, it takes effort, but if you set reasonable, achievable goals for yourself, then you can give yourself a pat on the back. You'll feel better, stronger, and you'll be able to keep working. You'll be motivated to keep reaching higher and higher. So that's what I want you to do. I want you to sit down, and it's good to write out your short-term goals as well. You can also write out a long-term goal. Some people even post pictures or post-it notes on their wall or on their computer to remind themselves of the long-term goal, but also have some short-term goals on how am I going to get there. So the long-term goal may be an A+, but the short-term goal may be a C or a B-, and you work toward that, and you set yourself some skills that are going to help you to get there. One of the things you can do, of course, is hire a tutor like myself, and I can help you to get there as well. But even on your own, even independently, you can do a lot of things that will help you achieve your reasonable goals. So I want you to try to do that. Set yourself some achievable goals, write them down, and look at them every now and again and make sure that you're working towards your goals. So that's all for goal setting right now. I may talk some more about that. Here are a few things you can do. You can subscribe to my channel. I hope you do. You can like the video, or you can comment on the video and we can have a discussion. Of course, you can also email me. I'll be providing my email address and my website address as well, where there are some courses and lessons there if you're interested. And you can always email me and ask me a question, or even Skype me. I'm very rarely on Skype, but we can set up an appointment if you want to do that as well. So don't forget to subscribe or like the video and maybe place a comment. It's Ron Johnson from L.T.L. Tutoring Central signing off for now, and set up some goals for yourself. And I wish you all the best in achieving all of your goals, short-term and long-term, academic and otherwise. Bye for now.